So when I'm physically sick, I have noticed that it impacts my mood. I instantly get depressed, I get anxious, I get cranky, and I'm tired. And quite recently, I realized that just as my physical pain can make me feel worse mentally, I can also feel pain without a physical cause. And I think we all experience this in small amounts in our lives, when our chests tighten or our stomachs hurt or our jaw just feels tighter. And if you really think about those moments, what caused it? This is Sonali Rekhi, and you are listening to Health Wealth, a podcast that brings together facts and expert advice to give you the most honest and simple understanding about your well being. See, all our bodies are designed to keep us safe. There is a survival mechanism which works alongside our stress hormones. And sometimes, when there is an overdose of cortisol, which is the main stress hormone in your body, your muscles actually tighten. There is a physical response to what you're thinking of emotionally or what you're feeling emotionally. And if your emotions are constantly triggering you and your brain is continuously feeling unsafe and imagining threats around you, or really sensing a threat around you, because emotional threats can feel very real, this chronic stress can actually stay on in your muscles and it manifests as physical pain. They call it psychogenic pain, and it occurs when your pain is not related to a physical source, but psychological, emotional, or behavioral factors, hormonal imbalances, particularly for women who have PCOS or are menopausal, that can also increase your susceptibility to stress. And if that stress continues, it too can manifest as physical pain. Sometimes this physical pain can get so chronic that it becomes a disorder just by itself. Fibromyalgia is a long lasting chronic disorder. It happens more to women who have gone through a lot of stress, a lot of emotional abuse, and it just becomes chronic pain. You have fatigue, you have trouble sleeping, you don't know when your body will just start aching so much that you won't be able to do a single thing. And I did interview someone who suffers from it, and her entire life has changed because of it. And there's no treatment in India for it. They will treat your mental pain, but they don't know how to medicate your physical manifestation of it. They also don't know how terrible it is for women who can't really identify a source or a disorder for their pain, but they're living with it all the time. And this was the time when I actually started getting interested in mind body pain and the connection between the two. I was curious to find solutions, but I also really wanted to find someone who has a personal story and experience of what this is. Because often the best answers come from those who have lived through the problem. And that's how I actually came across Sunaina Rekhi. She is a yogi with extensive experience. In fact, she's represented India at the United Nations for yoga. But what I found very interesting and what I really wanted to know more about are pain to power programs, which she has, where she offers guidance and exercises for various types of physical and emotional pain. I'll be honest, she has a video on how to release anxiety, and I have tried it and it's worked for me. And I'm extremely excited that she has joined us today. So I'm hoping this will shed a lot of light on how we can turn our pain to power. Hello, Sanana.
Hello, Sonali. Thank you so much for having me on
Thank you
your
so much for
wonderful
coming.
podcast.
Thank you. This topic is so relevant and it's so close to my heart that I was very, very happy that I came across you, and I'm very excited about what we're going to discuss today.
Exactly, so am I.
So, Sunaina, whatever I know about you is actually through Google and Instagram, and I don't think that internet does full justice to anyone's story. So I was hoping we can start from the beginning, maybe. Where are you from?
Always starts at the beginning only. It's like everything
Right at the
starts.
beginning. Where are you from? Where did you grow up? Tell me about you.
So I was actually born in Germany. I lived in South Africa. I studied in London. And my family's from Delhi. So I've lived in Bombay for 10 years. I've lived in Goa for 10 years, 10 months now, 10 years, I'm saying. So I've just traveled, lived, and really seeped in a lot of cultures through my upbringing.
And tell me a bit about your family. When you were growing up, who all were in your family? And um,
So my dad, who's no more, my mom, and my brother and my sister. So we have a 3 year age gap, and it was five of us. We used to say it's like the five fingers. It was five of us living in South Africa.
yeah,
My dad had a business, so we had like 52 retail outlets in South Africa. So that's how we
oh gosh.
shifted. So we were used to that kind of life also, where we would go to Cape Town, or let's buy a caravan. Okay, now we're going somewhere. Oh, Sunni, look down. He's got a Rolls Royce. So he had that kind of a thing. He was amazing at what he did. So I think I would say my upbringing was really looking at work, looking at somebody who was so phenomenal in what he did. He came in the Guinness Book of Records as one of the youngest people to be a business guy in Germany. And he was big hearted. I saw that as well. I saw a lot of
Yeah.
giving, and I saw a lot of vision. Like somebody asked him, "Oh, I love your car." And he just bought himself a limo when he was young, and he gave it to him the next day. It was parked in his house.
Wow.
And my mother's like, "What did you just do? You just gave him your car." And he's like, "Darling, you are only seeing, but I'm actually seeing how much more business me and this man are going to do from now." So he was a visionary. And because he's no more, all his things every day, Sonali, come to me as help, through my own journey.
And he's no more. I mean, he's not there with you right now. But at the point when he left you, did that impact you in any way?
Yeah, a lot. It was actually, I was in school. I still remember this, that I get a thing that, "Sunaina, please come to the hallway," or whatever. And somebody from the offices come to pick me up. And we are picking up my brother and my sister from school. And I still remember sitting and thinking, why are we being called, and why have we left school early? Like, what's going on? And I remember going into the office, and everybody, and my dad had a lot of people in the office, and a lot of people were standing, and my mother is just losing it. Like, I could just hear her saying, "Call again, call again. Uh, this is wrong news. Nanak uncle also, they thought he died, but he had." So there was this. And then when I entered and I heard what she said, and she said, "Papa died. And he was in Dubai when he died in his sleep." I don't know. At that point, I just got an epileptic attack. I couldn't stop. I still remember that moment. I couldn't, I didn't understand it. It was just like, oh my God. And after that, I think the recent impact was, I remember I was going for uniforms, and somebody said, the questions that come, "Oh, what does your dad do?" And my dad had just passed away, and this woman is asking me, "What does your dad do?" And in that moment, I wasn't able to say that he's no more. So I was like, "Oh, he's in business, we do garments." I wasn't able to. And I think even it was hard in the beginning. And then mom being young, she was a beautiful woman, being young. Uh, Suddenly, we are living in South Africa. He's no more. The business is all over, you know. And a lot of that stress also came on me, being the older child, being the eldest
Yeah.
in the family. So I think since that time, I'm able to like figure everyone out, because I've learned to figure everyone out. Because my mom is also a kid only, So I think at this age get mature much faster, no?
Mm-hmm.
We understood things, but at that age, they're not that mature.
Yeah.
And so whether she had to like hit me if she was really bugged or something, I had to take that in those, and in those moments I was like, it's okay, she's stressed. It's really bad for her,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But then later, as I also did therapy
Mm-hmm.
through through all of this, I remember my therapist telling me, no, it's not okay.
Yeah.
Whether she's stressed, whether she's not stressed, whether this has happened, it's not okay. And I still had a thing to it. No, like she was in a lot. She didn't know, because I could so understand her that that's what empathy does.
That is what empathy does. And it's a two-way sword in a way because, like you said, sometimes you you can see what the person is feeling and you think it's all right for them to treat you in a certain way, or you will take that stress for them because they too need your support at that time. But that is a lot to go through at such a young age, and to shoulder the responsibility of someone else's emotions and at the same time deal with your own emotions. Has that, I mean, for me, like, even I have a tendency to do this. Um, I often feel that, okay, that person is going through trauma, so let me just accept whatever they're saying or doing to me. And that is carried on throughout my life till at 35. I realized, no, this people pleasing behavior is not really very good for me. Has the same happened to you? I mean, have you sort of carried that
Completely.
forward into your adulthood, taking responsibility for other people's emotions?
So empathy is, correctly said, a double-edged sword. And I felt that every time I'm empathetic with somebody, somewhere where I understand, okay, they're going through something, and I'm agreeing to it, I'm also denying myself. For example, I had my ex-boyfriend. He lived in New York. Now, if I have a boyfriend and it's a long distance relationship, I want to talk to this guy, right? I would like to talk to him. And he would be like, oh, let's talk on a Saturday or a Sunday. Or, oh, now I'm tanning. Now I'll talk to you later. It was, it was not feeling for me. Okay. Or when I would leave New York, he would be so sad. And when I would come back, he had cut off from me. We were so close, and suddenly there was no call, nothing. And then I was like, what was it? Separation anxiety. I understood it because I realized that his dad had left him when he was young. So he has this separation anxiety. So when I leave, he wants to cut me off so he doesn't feel so separated from it. But I started denying what I needed. I
Mhm.
started denying that I need to talk on the phone, or I can't have somebody cut from me for such a long time. And it took me a long time to start loving myself through the process of saying that I don't want this, whether this person has this
Hmm.
problem or that problem. If it doesn't suit my dire needs, how can I let this go on? And now, of course, it's been a long time since that time, but every relationship, everything teaches you that.
This empathy which you feel for others so naturally, has that impacted or carried on forward into your adulthood as well?
Definitely, definitely. It still is carrying through with certain people. It's not completely gone yet. It's been like so much work on it because I've become aware of it. Like how you rightly said, it's a double edged sword. So earlier, it was like you'll always be congratulated by the world when you are empathetic, right? Oh, itna acha kara, unke liye kiya, well done. You're so sweet. And as you're young, you keep hearing that this is positive reinforcement. This is great. And also, I've always wanted people to be, I wanted to take out their problems. When I was young, it was a lot. Like, I wanted to just be like, it'll all be fine. Like, we'll talk about it. I'll show you a different perspective and and it'll be fine. But as this empathy started moving into my like really close relationships, where it was, I wasn't realizing whether it was narcissistic behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't realizing how manipulative that behavior could be, but I was being empathetic towards it. So, like, for example, my ex boyfriend, he never wanted to, like, every time I will leave the city and he lived in New York, he would just completely cut off. And it would really be painful because you spent a month with this man who you think you're so in love
Mm.
and he cuts you off. And I would understand it because he would tell me earlier, I've had a lot of separation anxiety with my dad, and he left when I was a kid. And I really understood him. I got that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it happens to you, you're like, okay, it happened to me. You're hurting. And then every time he would come back, I would forgive him. I would forgive him that he has disappeared for a month or 2 months. And I mean, today I can't believe that I did that, but I did do that.
He didn't call you at all for a
And
month or 2 months. He would just vanish.
no, he blocked, like there was a wall,
Gosh.
he was unreachable. It would be a blank wall. So as a young girl, it is so hard.
It is.
But I still remember that when it did come back, like at the last one, I was like, no, I'm done. Because during that time, I did a lot of work on myself. It doesn't just happen. Talk doesn't make anything a reality. We might understand something, but it takes years to master it. It takes years. Like today, I'm able to say no. I'm able to do that because now I've started looking at myself as this is Sunaina, and there's a little Sunaina inside. And I used to tell my daughter this as well. If today she has a toy and her friend comes and says, oh, I love this toy, can I have it? And I just take it from her and I give it to that child, what have I just done? Or the child herself says, oh, my mom said so. She's saying no to her inner child and giving that toy. It's not fair, no? आपकी कोई jewelry आके कहे, Mama, my friend wants your jewelry. Can you give it to her, please?
Mm-hmm.
And then we say you have to be giving. So I feel people pleasing and all is a lot of saying no to yourself and saying yes to them.
Yeah.
If if it is a point of where you don't want to do it, that's called people pleasing. If
Mm-hmm.
you really don't want to do it and you're trying to please them,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
know,
because you carry so much of guilt and shame sometimes. I think it a lot of these behaviors are born from a place of pain to begin with, and you're unable to really see disappointment in someone else or know that you're the reason that someone might be, suffering or feeling worse off than what they are. And we do carry not only our own pain, but we start to carry their pain as well. And that can lead to a lot more consequences than what we think. Someone listening to this might feel, what does this have to do with my physical health? But actually, pain is so much part of our physical health as well. We're carrying it inside if we're constantly feeling guilty about someone else's emotions.
correct, or anything. We're carrying it inside our body. Our mind, our brain is inside our body. It is not outside our body.
Mhm,
So if you are feeling like, say, I don't want somebody to come home today,
mhm,
but they call me, but I'm like, okay, if they come, it's okay. If they don't come, it's okay. Now that's my intention, right? I've thought this. So when that person will call, I'll be like, yeah, if you have time, I know you're leaving, but if you have time, maybe today, tomorrow, maybe give me a call. We'll try to meet, okay? But if my intention is that I really want to meet this person, the way I'm going to bring it out, I'm going to give that energy to that person. I'm going to bring it out that way because I'm feeling that way. I'll be like, oh my God, yaar, kahan pe hai? Let's meet. I'm here, do aur log aaye hue hain. Let's chill, let's swim, I would do it that way, right? Because I'm excited. So whatever you are thinking, is manifesting out.
Mhm.
If you are stressed out, I will stress out my daughter and everyone who comes into contact with me.
Mhm.
If I'm not grateful, everyone who comes into contact with me will feel that.
Mhm.
I don't have to even say anything, they will feel it. So I think it's very
Yeah.
important. Whatever's happening in our mind
Mhm.
is definitely going into our body.
And you shared one experience of loss with me and how that caused almost an epileptic fit in you. Has this happened again in your life? Has a truly traumatic experience or difficult experience again manifested in a physical form?
Yes. So the epileptic didn't really, that was just a moment. I didn't really have that again. But but I think at that time, when my dad passed away, there might have been a lot of mental thing. But when you're young, no, like Khalil Gibran said, life moves forward.
Yeah.
It doesn't carry backward.
Mhm.
For us as children, we were so busy with school, we were so busy with the activities, you know what I mean, with friends, with homework, that I think for me, for anyone when you're young, it goes. But later, when I went through a divorce, that's really a lot of trauma before, after, during. I mean, people just use this word divorce very, 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 very lightly,
Mhm.
but it has a lot of, I mean, you become an unbelievable human after that because it's an unbelievable challenge. And it's an unbelievable challenge before you want to get divorced, during the divorce, and after. All three are unbelievable challenges in that. And I think that really, the divorce, my whole spine broke.
And how old were you when this
Backbone broke.
happened?
No, so my backbone broke as soon as I left, and I couldn't understand that then. But then your back is your support structure of your body, it supports you. So when I have left the financial and the I've left all of that, and there is no man, there's no one who's taking care in a way, and I have a daughter, and my family, I have zero family in Bombay, and I was living in Bombay. I had to take care of a house. I didn't know how to take care of bills. And my ex-husband used to do all of that. I didn't know how to book ticket. I did not know how to do anything. I didn't realize how uh,
Supportive.
closed I
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
and my spine, one, tuck, 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 tuck. Every time I was stressed out, I would feel it in my right arm. I would feel a full paralysis. Like my hands would become like this. I will not be able to move it because my stress would move
Mhm.
into my arm, and I would just be like, oh my God. Like it would be so, it would be right there. So I feel it every time there's a stress. I can feel it in my neck. I can feel it in my shoulder. I can feel all of it physically manifesting in my body.
And how long did this go on for? How long were you at a mercy of your physical pain?
5 years. It was, I think, nearly 6 years, I would say. I had all the disc, and I'm not saying that the pain has gone. There's some conditions where if my bones have broken and I don't have an L5, genetically, my L5 is not developed only,
Mhm.
I can't eradicate the pain. It is never going to not be broken, right? And then the discs over it are breaking with the pain. So what I have done in those 5 years is, first I worked on the pain, I worked on the emotions, I have worked with the connection, I have worked a lot with gratitude. I have worked a lot with gratitude. uh, I feel everything is positive. My pain is so positive because it's negative in a way that it pains me, and it's all the time. I have fibromyalgia.
Mhm.
So my body pain is all over in my joints, in my nerves, in my bones. And all I started doing, I think there's 6 things that are very important in your life,
Mhm.
right? Diet, rest, Sunlight. I will put with sunlight, I'll put water and earth. I think all this is really, really important. Self confidence is very important. Exercise is, did I say exercise? Exercise, diet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and there was one more. I think all these six things in your life are really important. How you see things, your perspective,
Yeah.
you know.
So, Sunaina, when did physical pain begin for you?
Hmm. Physical pain, I think physical pain, real physical pain began for me post my divorce. All right. And I was doing second series Ashtanga. And also, I think posturally, second series Ashtanga is all about back bending.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when I started doing it and I was doing it in the wrong way, like if I'm not squeezing my buttocks and I'm going into a back bend, and now you have to get flexible. So the teacher's telling you stay there for 10 minutes. It's like a car accident waiting to happen to you. If you do yoga wrong, it's the worst thing that can happen to you. If you tear a hamstring, it takes 3, 4 years to repair, you know? So it is very important to do it correctly,
Right.
do it with somebody to do it correctly. So for me, it started during the divorce, the emotional. Now imagine the emotional, then the genetic. My L5 is not developed, so there was a genetic part to it. And then there was actually the activity of doing yoga wrongly,
Mm-hmm.
doing Ashtanga, which was so strenuous on the
Yeah.
body,
Yeah.
so strenuous on the joints and
Mm-hmm.
everything,
Mm-hmm.
that for me, I kept thinking I'm doing yoga, but I was just finishing my body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like today, I don't concentrate on Ashtanga yoga
Yeah.
at all, you
That is a
know,
very strenuous form of yoga. To me, when
correct.
you say this, I almost feel like you were punishing your body in some way, but you were already tired, you were already in pain, and then you just took a very strenuous form of yoga. Did the pain progress from there?
No, so I wasn't in pain when I got into Ashtanga.
Mm-hmm.
Ashtanga happened, but when I started doing the second series is when I actually got hurt.
Okay.
And I remember going on a plane and I had to go back. I was doing a 2 week and I was just going to go back to Bombay and come back. And I remember I've gone, I'm sitting and I've gone for breakfast. And in the yoga studios, yoga classes, hum zameen pe baith ke, we would eat,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I wasn't able to bend to put stuff in my plate. I wasn't able to bend down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was like, okay, I've done yoga. Maybe I've pulled something. Let me relax it. I went to the airport. I was in agony. Like people were actually, I'm not saying anything, but people are coming to me out of nowhere in the airport saying, are you okay? Can we help you?
Yeah.
I go to the toilet. I pulled my pants down. I can't pull them up. I'm like, इस bathroom से कैसे निकलूंगी?
And how did that make you feel?
And no, I was just moving at this
You were
moment. I
just
had not
moving.
reached where I'm feeling at this moment. I'm just, at this moment, I'm moving.
Mm-hmm.
I reached the flight. I reached Bombay, and that everyone has to get up and take their bags. And something has happened. I'm not able to move. I'm not able to bloody move at all. And so I take my hands on the side of that chair. I'm trying to pull up. I'm trying to pull my body up to lift up. And I come down again. And in that moment, Sonali, I started to cry because in that moment, I was like, it's done. It's broken. I can't. And for me to call for a wheelchair like that, I don't enjoy dependency.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe I said wheelchair with my mouth that day. And and since then, I would teach yoga classes. Even after that, my students would come and I would be fully twisted because I couldn't move. And I would lie down, and my students were so cute. They'd put cushions behind me, and I'd be like, inhale, exhale. Like I would feel so happy doing it.
Yeah.
But this is when it really happened for me. And then life really changed after
Yeah.
that.
How did life change after that?
Life changed in so many ways. I was constantly in pain. I was constantly in pain. It just wasn't stopping. So I went to the doctors, I did my MRI, and it came out that genetically this is the problem. Then it came out that I have spondylolisthesis,
Okay.
which is because you don't have one disc, all the other discs which are supported by the help are all going. So then they are all weak. And I don't have any gel between my discs. So it's in constant friction, no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That constant friction was one, there was pain all the time. Second, I became a victim. Third, I felt a lot of anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth, I felt very lonely. Fifth, I did not feel supported in my journey, whether it was with anyone, but even with my daughter, whether she wouldn't help me with anything or not understand. So many times I'm saying the same thing. So I started feeling a lot. So there was a lot that went on, right? You feel disgruntled, you feel whatever. And in the midst of all that, I would be positive and I would chill and I would be positive. But I still realized I was cribbing a lot
Mm-hmm.
because I was under that much pain.
Yeah. You mentioned at one point there was pain constantly all around you, and your back pain you talked about. Was there pain in other parts of your body as well? And what were the causes of that?
So I had pain all over my body. It was not just my back because now my back was broken. So if my neck is gone, I'm also feeling the pain in my shoulders shooting down my arms. I'm also, if my lower back is gone, I'm also feeling pain in my hips shooting down my legs and my feet. And then with all this pain, your nerves are hurting, your bones are hurting. And I did not like how you said earlier, you talked about fibromyalgia.
Mm-hmm.
I had never heard of fibromyalgia. Can you believe it? When like at this point, I've gone
Yeah.
to a doctor because I've not had my period.
Mm.
And I was menopausal.
Mm-hmm.
I was going through premenopause
Mm-hmm.
at 42 with a lot of stress and all that. So I'm realizing everything that is mental is physical.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Like right now, menopause with so much stress in your life, so
Yeah.
much to figure out. Like 10 years earlier, normal age for menopausal women is 50, 52.
Yeah.
I got it at 42.
Yeah. That.
And it's been 1 year. So I'm now to fully menopausal. It's not perimenopause,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
And then she told me, my gynae told me, you are suffering from fibromyalgia because I told her, doctor, my bones are hurting, my nerves are hurting, my body is hurting, my mind is hurting.
And you didn't know what it was either.
No,
So how did you feel when you found out?
I felt really good. I
And
felt
why?
really good that I found out because I anyways had the pain.
Mm-hmm.
At least I got to know what the pain was.
Yeah.
It's not like I found out and more pain is happening. At least I knew that somebody is able to give a name to this,
Yeah.
right? Like how you said, why it's being untreated because nobody even knows that they have this problem, that they have fibromyalgia,
Yeah.
right? The world doesn't know so much about fibromyalgia. Abroad, people know. I've not heard anyone in India
We don't
talk
talk
to me
about it.
about fibromyalgia.
No. And you know, every time you say something, I always find that you're finding positive spins towards it. Another person could be in your shoes and say, I felt horrible that I have this disease that no one knows how to treat in a country like India, and I'll have to suffer with it. You took a positive spin to it. You're saying you felt better, that you're looking at your cup is always half full. What drives you to find positivity everywhere, and did that help you in overcoming your pain? Well, let's start with the first bit. Like, how do you find positivity everywhere?
So, Sonali, first let's just talk about fibromyalgia in
Mm-hmm.
terms of they don't have a cure for it, correct? But everything works. Again, like I said, you don't understand. Fibromyalgia, I've reduced so much pain because I go into the water and the sun. Now, when the doctor says hot and cold, for me, I'm doing hot and cold. I'm doing hot sun, I'm doing cold water. Then I'm doing hot sun, then I'm doing cold water. It also relaxes my vagus nerve,
Mhm.
right? It's releasing me because anything where you go into some thanda, even when you splash cold water, so that sunlight, and I look at sunlight and water as my mother and father. That sunlight is my father, and the Ganga. I actually got this whole concept for myself when I went to the Ganga in Rishikesh, but here the pool or the beach is my mother.
Mhm.
And I feel really nurtured with those two energies.
Mhm.
Then when I do yoga, I can't tell you how much that practice has healed me. Any day that I don't pay homage to my yoga mat, I am in pain. I have to pay homage to my mat. I have to sit on my mat. The third thing, yoga has taught me how to be so mindful. Do you know? I understand how I'm walking, how I'm sitting, how I'm moving, how I need to swim, how I need to engage my core. I didn't have this kind of mindfulness.
Mhm.
Do you know that I have become such a good teacher? Because earlier, I would intellectually tell somebody if they had pain. Today, I have felt pain. So when I talk to people, I'm like, I get it. I get
Understand.
you. And that feeling for the other person is not just about teaching them a healing asana, but that feeling for that student or that person that I'm able to get them, I'm able to get what they're feeling is a very phenomenal feeling for a person who is under pain.
Yeah, it is. That
It's
that
so much support. So I think this pain has taken me into the most wonderful journey. Today I'm doing pain to power journey.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you tell me a bit more about your master classes on pain to power?
So, pain to power, I think I started doing a lot of therapeutic sessions because I was doing a lot of therapy on myself. And whatever I learn, I want to teach. So it's like, okay, soak your feet in hot water and salt. If you're having a lot of back pain,
Mm-hmm.
then I'll be like, acha, karo na. They might know it, but I'll
Yeah.
put it up there.
Yeah.
They'll be like, "Acha, karte hain." Or are you feeling really stressed out? Take a bowl of water, put ice in it, and just dunk your face up
Yeah.
and down. I can't tell you how much it relaxes me. So whatever I
Wow.
like to share
Yeah.
in terms of self-care, in terms of self-help, in terms of yoga, in terms of therapy, I do a lot of counseling. I'm also a psychotherapist and counselor. So I do a lot of counseling. I do a lot of one-on-one counseling where people come to me with so many different things and it changes. And the only thing that works, I think, in my online sessions is perspective.
Mm-hmm.
The moment I'm able to change where you are, you have changed direction. It just takes a second. It's like yoga. It's like I move you, the pose takes a different, full healing movement in your body,
Yeah.
right? So it's like that. So I work a lot with like counseling and therapy because you need to work your mental space to work your body.
So you also talk a lot about how the mind impacts the body and the body impacts the mind. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Correct. So, okay, I'm sitting here
Mm-hmm.
and I'm all happy and I get a call. And the call is bad news. And I hear it. My mind has heard it, right? I've heard it here. But I've heard the bad news. So what will happen to my body? You either need to sit down or you need to breathe, or your breathing will become,
Mm-hmm.
your body will manifest whatever you heard in your brain. Your boss screams at you. What will happen? Your body gets stressed out. A person comes into the house and you're scared. It's a fight, flight, freeze response, right? Now, I'm taking it the other way. I'm saying this is already happening. This everybody knows. But if you are feeling stress, what have I told you? You just have to create a position in your body that will help release that stress. So, what you do to your body
Mm-hmm.
will change your mind also.
So what
If
can you do?
mind, whatever you say, can change your body,
Right.
so whatever you do with your body can also change your mind.
Yeah.
So if a person has a postural problem,
Mm-hmm.
which is like this,
Mm-hmm.
and they're always looking down, definitely, they also have a confidence problem. Definitely.
And how do you
Because
work
you are
around that?
hiding. You are hiding. So if you are not confident, what will you do? You will hide. Today, Sonali is looking very sexy. Sonali will want to wear red hot shoes. How will she walk?
Mm-hmm.
She'll walk like this, right? But Sonali is not feeling good, has just broken up with a man, is not dressed well. How will she walk? Like this, like the whole world is on her shoulders and she can't bear this load anymore. This load. You know, one of my favorite authors, her name is Ayn Rand.
Mm-hmm.
And Ayn Rand wrote two books called Fountainhead. I mean, she wrote many books, but the two books that she wrote were Fountainhead and Atlas Shrugged.
Mm-hmm.
And I was 16. Like today I'm 42, but I was 16 when I read those books, and my whole perspective changed. Even Atlas Shrugged, I would think about it. Atlas is the world. And when you move your shoulders, you're shrugging your shoulders, the Atlas. So I always use this Atlas shrug thing, that whenever you're feeling a lot of neck pain and shoulder pain, mentally you're so overburdened,
Yeah.
so much stuff, that sometimes you feel you're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to either shirk it off, like get off it. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want it,
Yeah.
you know. And if your lower back is really paining,
Mm-hmm.
notice in your life that you're not feeling supported financially
Mm-hmm.
or emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're feeling a feeling in your gut, have you felt when you're really excited, you get
Yeah.
butterflies in your
Yeah.
stomach?
Yeah.
Oh, or the breathing, you're like, ah, ah. When you're really joyous, what happens to the breath? What happens to the
Yeah.
body?
Yeah.
Body, when you're joyous, is not, uh, it's not like that. When you're joyous, it's like, uh, even Surya Namaskar. What's your first movement? Inhale. And just this movement of arms up creates this movement for your body, you know. So it changes everything.
So tell me, I'm a working professional and I have a desk job. And is there something I can do before I enter a meeting? And if I'm not feeling very confident, is there something I can do right then and there to like sort of give myself a boost of confidence?
Yes, baby. And today you will know. So when you're feeling and you have a meeting, you're feeling tick, 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 anywhere you want to do it, on your chair, in the toilet, anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
just lift your arms up.
Mm-hmm.
Do it with me. Lift your arms up
Okay.
and just breathe. You have to do this for 3 minutes, okay? And as you're breathing, what is
Mm-hmm.
happening with your arms up
Mm-hmm.
is your testosterone
Mm-hmm.
going up,
Mm-hmm.
which is your power. You're feeling power. Testosterone is your power
Mm-hmm.
hormone,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you're doing this, you're creating power. Like Barack Obama doesn't sit like this, or Oprah
Yeah.
Winfrey doesn't sit like this.
Yeah.
They'll sit like this.
Yeah.
These are power positions,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when you even lift your arms up, in those 3 minutes,
Yeah.
something changes.
Yeah.
Your power goes up, you're breathing, you have just created this, you're feeling something, and people just don't do it, you know, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just too much. And your cortisol, which is your stress
Stress
hormone,
hormone. Yeah.
decreases. Because if power has to increase,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be less stressed out. The most stressed out people in the world will never be powerful. It's not possible.
Yeah.
A powerful human,
Yes.
it's not like stress will not be there in their lives, but they're not stressed out people.
Mhm.
They are confident people. They have systemized their lives. They
Mhm.
have organized their lives.
Mhm.
They are disciplined.
Mhm.
They have a purpose in their lives.
Mhm.
They know where they need to go. They're balancing their life. And when we are learning how to do all that, it will stress us out. But it should. Because only when you're stressed out will you realize that I don't need to be stressed out. How will you know otherwise?
Yeah. So I'm going to come back to a question I asked you before, which, when I speak to you, it just radiates towards me, is your positivity. And sometimes I feel people are positive when they feel self-connection, when they feel worthy. Anything, the way you talk to yourself matters so much.
Yeah.
Do you feel worthy?
Very.
And
Like,
how do you feel worthy?
I just love the fact that I'm always trying. I always try my best with everything in my life. I really try to balance my life. I think I have the most beautiful family. I have my three children. I could have one who is my teenage daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and now I have two of my puppies. So I'm so happy in my life that in the morning I feel so worthy. Every day they kiss me, they want me. There's every day my dogs teach me how to unconditionally love.
Yeah.
Every day my daughter teaches me how to get more patience,
Mm-hmm.
how to be more understanding, how to be wiser with a child. Because if she's a teenager and people talk about that, I'm also living life for the first time. I'm also a mother of a teenager for the first time. And I think all these things, today I live in Goa. I have done this in my life. I have filled my self care cup. I decide that I have to fill it up. I depend only and only on me. I do not depend on my daughter. I do not depend on my dogs. I do not depend on anyone. I depend only on me. Because every time, if I have felt that I have depended on people,
Mm-hmm.
it creates a certain expectation within me
Yeah.
that troubles me. So I
Yeah.
rather not get troubled. So I still feel I have a lot to work with where I can really take more support from people. I feel that
Mm-hmm.
I give a lot of support, but I don't take support back. And I'm trying to learn that because I think that's very important. I think it's very
Yeah.
easy for a lot of people to give to other people, but not to ask for support when you need it. So I've
Yeah.
started doing that right now because I'm aware of it. And when you're aware of it, I feel
Mm.
the battle is won because I'm aware of it and I want to change it. It is done because I will do it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So I think this self worth took so much time. I love to continue is like the purposes in life. I feel so lucky that
Mm-hmm.
I have a purpose in this life. I feel so lucky that I am a sole entrepreneur. I make my own decisions. I'm so lucky that in the morning I can go and I can swim in my pool and then tan. And then there are all these 80, 85-year-old people. And I love and have so much gratitude for those people because every day I'm so excited listening to them and their wisdom because I feel that 30, 40 ko kuch nahi pata yaar, 85 se pucho. I
Yeah.
love
That's
their
true.
wisdom.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think I feel very worthy. I feel very
Yeah.
in sync with myself. I understand myself
Mm.
now.
And Sunaina, when we go from a place of pain and misery to a place of peace and joy, often we look back and there's so many things that we feel this journey has taught us. Um, are there a few things you could share that your pain has really taught you and that you're grateful to your pain for?
I think I'm grateful to my pain. Okay, think about the small things. All the time, I'm standing. I have lost so much weight. I can't sit. So many times I'm really tired. I want to sit down, but it hurts. So I like remember when we started the conversation, you said, Sunaina, I'll take 10 minutes. I said, should I be here? Because I didn't want to sit
Mm-hmm.
in a place. It hurts. I didn't want to keep getting up. So pain has Like I said, pain has really taught me one thing: to be a really awesome teacher, to be a healer, because I had to become a healer for myself. Only
Mm-hmm.
when you really want to do it for yourself can you do it for other people. I'm not in this journey not to take care of myself and just why am I doing this is because it is helping me as well. My students are helping me and I am helping them. We are both helping each other. And it's such great energy to wake up in the morning or in the evening when we have sessions and to start or end our day with that, where you learn life, you learn self care, you learn asanas. It's beautiful. It's an hour of your day, which is so lovely. Like so much gratitude for that
Yeah.
hour.
Yeah. So one thing that I really wanted to come back to was fibromyalgia. Can you tell me what is it? What do you experience?
You experience chronic body pain all over from head to toe. You feel pain, right? So you will feel pain not just in your bones, your muscles, your nerves, your joints. You'll feel it everywhere. It is hard to sleep, but that's why they say you get insomnia as well with it. Because if you're going through a lot of
Mm-hmm.
body pain, there's a lot of movement in the bed, right? To make you
Mm-hmm.
comfortable to be in this position, then you change positions. So there's,
Mm-hmm.
you're not fully in a rest sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and fibromyalgia does create a lot of anxiety in people, a lot of stress in people, a lot of depression in people, right? So you have to learn how to deal
Yeah.
when you have a condition like this.
So I came across some research that points to the fact that women tend to get fibromyalgia a lot more. Why do you
Yes.
think that is?
Women, first of all, we though have a uterus, right? So we anyways have a lot of stuff going on there as well, right? And then we have our periods, and when your periods are ending, when you become menopausal as well, your bones become weak. You start developing, if you're not taking care of yourself, with osteoporosis or arthritis. So all of these things, anyways, a woman is going through. She also gives birth to a kid. There's a lot of wear and tear that takes place in a woman's body compared to a man's body,
Yeah.
and that is why fibromyalgia is so prevalent in women.
Mm-hmm.
For example,
Yeah.
when I was giving birth, I got a trying natural labor for 36 hours. I got a injection and epidural up my spine. Now, I might not have had all that back pain at that time, correct? But when that back pain has come, it has to do with that as well,
Mm-hmm.
and plus when we are
Yeah.
giving, women are pregnant, they're also, I'm just thinking of it, like they're also walking differently. Their posture is not correct. So when your
Mm-hmm.
posture is not correct, like if your neck is not in posture, you are putting too much weight on the bones, too many kilograms on the bones. So most people will have, say, a back pain like right at the back of their
Mm-hmm.
skull,
Mm-hmm.
because most of us talk like this. We talk like an aquatic bird. So when we do this, we
Yeah.
are weakening these muscles at the back and the front of our neck. And this is where all this pain is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I think posture has a big one to do. That's all both with men and women. But I think posture, when you're also giving birth to a kid, when you're pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
also changes a lot of stuff for women. So it's a lot of reasons why women get it a lot
Yeah.
more.
And saying someone who might be listening to this and is also experiencing a similar condition, it would be very hopeful for them to hear about how yoga has helped you manage it. And perhaps you could share a little bit about that.
Yes, definitely. So when there was mental pain, okay, before the physical pain. So before the physical pain manifested, the mental pain was there, right? And I still remember, and at that point, I would just put my mat at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the night, and I would just stretch. I would just stretch. Maybe I will hold a stretch just for 2 minutes, some for 5 minutes, some for 10 minutes. Maybe I'll just do three stretches, but it
Mm-hmm.
would just calm my system down. And yoga really at that time was my savior. It saved me. It saved me. I started working with a lot of restorative yoga. I started working with therapeutic yoga. Every day, I started working with a lot of breath work. I started calming my nervous system down. I started working on everything that calms me down because naturally I'm a more hyper person, right? So I needed to find more ways. Some people are just calmer, right? Some people are more hyper. If I'm more hyper, I need to find more ways to calm me. If somebody is too relaxed and too calm, then they need to find something that can be a little bit more adventurous, a little bit. And I think yoga really was my walking stick at that time. Everything about it was yoga, 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 yoga.
Yeah.
It really, really helped me. But saying that, yoga, Ashtanga yoga also crippled me. You get it? Because I was not mindful, because I did it wrong. I went for a teacher training for second series and I was destroyed, you know. But it taught me that that's what I needed at that time. I needed a Ashtanga, I needed movement, I needed that in my life. And
Yeah.
then I realized, you know what, you don't need this in your life. And I think God also gave me pain because I needed to slow down. I still haven't slowed down as much, but I have slowed down in my movements. I have slowed down in that space. I'm not like that anymore.
Yeah.
You know? So I think yoga has made me unbelievably mindful as a human being. Yoga does that
Yeah.
because I'll tell you why. For example, if I tell you, okay, go into a warrior one or a warrior two or a downward dog, do you know how many things you have to think about? If you're in a down dog, you have to think, open your fingers, press into them,
Yeah.
press the index finger down, feet, head, shoulders, neck. Can you understand? Your whole body is trying to get aligned. So in that moment, you can't think about whether your help came to the house or not, whether food is made or not. You can't think those things because you're trying to figure out shoulder नीचे है या ऊपर है, पैर left जा रहा है या right जा रहा है, knee कहाँ पे जा रही है.
Yeah.
That that taught me so much mindfulness.
Yeah.
Staying in poses taught me a lot about my pain because when I would stay in a pose for 5 minutes, there were moments in that if I had a timer for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, there were moments where my emotions varied. I would suddenly be frustrated of the pose. I'll want to get out. Or I'll feel now I'm irritated. I want to get out. Or I'll feel a lot of pain. Or I'll feel, okay, now I'm settling in. Now I'm really relaxing into it. So that doing that really helped me with life, that our emotions are changing all the time. Not
Yeah.
hold on to one. So yoga taught me all of that on how to deal with pain.
Yeah. I mean, you've been mentioned many times that yoga saved you. You said yoga taught you so much. I would say that you have taught me so much, not just in the last hour or so that we've been talking, but also on your Instagram page. I tried one stretch once where you said to release anxiety. It's stored in your jaw, and I've actually tried that, and it helped me. So, thank you very much for
Yeah.
being so honest about your journey. Very few people with fibromyalgia actually come out and talk about it. So it really brings power just listening to you. So thank you so much for everything you've
Thank
shared,
you so
Sonali.
much,
Thank you.
Sonali. I want to give you a hug. I want you to come out of the camera so I can give you a hug.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you
so
for,
honest.
it's like we had a therapy session, like a counseling session. I love it.
We did. It was so deep.
I really
Um,
love
Thank you. Have you ever experienced pain in your body? And what more do you want to know about women's health and women's issues? Do share your experiences on pods@indiatoday.com or on 8588 966 We are also available on Google, Apple, and Spotify. So if you've enjoyed this episode and if Sunaina has helped you and taught you as much as she's helped and taught me right now, please do rate us.